coding is
so
not
as
the
a
IT.
performance tester,
Only
we
coding is not IT.
mostly get into
There are
doing the
different.
testing phase.
I mean,
Or
where does the code
probably
runs?
some of you would
Code
have
runs
got
on
into
a software, right?
early
On a
with
infrastructure,
shift
right?
left or early
Yes, that
performance
is also
testing.
IT. So only
Probably we might
coding is
also
not IT.
done
Only Java, Python is not
good
IT.
amount of testing during the development as well, but predominantly at the testing phase.
Okay.
But as a performance engineer,
Thank you.
how
Just
can
one
we
query,
play a role,
Vallabh.
or what
Like
is even
the
the
way you
expectation
it's
from the
not about
real
entering into
product
IT
engineer,
from some
right?
other industry.
How are they
Question
going
would
to
My
I
fit into
f-
my name is
the
Shivam. My name is
SDLC
Shivam,
safety?
not Vallabh.
And what are the various
Actually, this is
oh
activities they are
sorry,
going to
the
do?
I'm so
ID
So
sorry.
first
I
is
have. Yeah, my
requirement,
name is
right?
Shivam.
During a
Please.
requirement
I mean,
I
I just
sorry.
want to tell everyone
the
that's it. No
business
need to be
team is
sorry.
going
Yeah,
to
please go ahead.
Okay.
list down
Yeah,
the
Shiva, my question
features
is
of the
it's not
product.
about
Who
entering
are
into
the end
IT
users?
from
How
other
are they going to
industry.
use it?
My question would
What are
be
the
like
features they
someone
are
who's totally new
expecting
for
for their
AWS.
business to operate?
They
So
just want to
that
That
time,
learn to
it's
enhance
very
their career
important
into this
to
domain.
either
And they
yes.
talk
are
to the
from
same
IT or
business
whatever
owners
it
or
is.
product
Will
owners,
this
or
course
the
be
application
relevant for
or
them
similar
to
application
start
if
with,
it is
or some other
already in
basic courses would be required before
uh,
entering into this
production.
level?
So as an
Okay.
performance
No,
engineer
this
or the
this
performance
this is the
architect,
right course
your
to
role would
enter
be to
AWS.
talk
So
to
This
the
would be
team,
the
if you
basic
define
course
the ethic
starting
parts,
with all the basics of
uh,
AWS,
top
right?
five features which
yes,
is going
yes.
to
So
get
see,
designed.
actually
What are
there's
those?
one course called
Uh,
AWS
can you please go mute
Cloud
whoever is
Practitioner.
not in
Okay.
mute?
So
Yes,
cloud
associate level.
practitioner. Yeah, no. That is just cloud practitioner. So this is
Okay.
associate level course. In solution architect, there are two courses, associate and professional level. So we are covering associate level. Okay. And there's one more
That's
course
Can
for
you
which is
this
called
is
please
on
go
a
in mute?
architect level, and that
I tried.
practitioner
You
is the
can mute
entry
from
level,
your end.
right?
You can mute also.
practitioner is not
Yeah, I'm
entry
just
level.
trying to do it. Yeah,
it,
thank
it
you.
it is a course which gives you the idea of different AWS
Okay, yeah,
services. It doesn't let you work on
fine.
that on
So
those services.
I was talking about
It
the
just
during the
gives
requirement
you the
stage.
idea
What is
about
the
those
role of the
services.
performance engineer? Right, it's very
Okay,
important
Okay.
to
got it.
define that at
And
the
but
initial
AWS
level,
solution
so that
architect in
we
this
don't end up
course,
with the
we
surprises
will
of
be covering about we will
the
be
business owners saying
giving you
the
the
expectation
idea
was
about the
different, the end
different
users
AWS
are
services, and we will also do
different. So that is
hands-on.
very
So
important for us
this is,
to go look back
I
into the
personally feel
couple
this
of
is the right course to
available
start off
statistics in
with.
production
There's
or
no need
talk to
to
business
go
team
for
to
AWS Cloud
define
Practitioner.
the
I'll teach you
non-functional
from basic one.
requirements.
Even
Second is
in
the
solution
design phase
architect, they
when
will
the
teach you
product
from basic
architects
one.
are going to design the
Okay,
system
so it's
Mm-hmm.
just the extra
to
certification which
develop a
AWS
particular
has
feature.
come
They
up
might
with
bring
Cloud
in
Practitioner.
a
No
couple
need to
of
go with Cloud
messaging
Practitioner
systems. It could
certification.
be
Solution Architect
Java in the
Associate
front, or
certification is
probably
the right one
Node
for you
server in
if
the
you want to
front,
enter
SQL
AWS.
database. So they might be
Okay.
designing the
Thanks, Shivam.
system from a
Yeah.
feature perspective to develop a particular feature. So during that time, again, our role will be to map the non-functional
Okay.
requirements
Anyone
to
else?
the design that is going to
Questions? Any questions?
stand for the particular features. It is very important that, say, for SLA of 3 seconds or 5 seconds,
No?
if the design is going to have multiple components, it is going to depend upon the third-party services, API services. Um,
No questions?
either
Okay,
we
fine then.
have to
Okay, so
discuss with the
fine.
architect team, we have
Let's
to discuss with
start.
the business
Let me
team
give you a
to
brief
see
idea about
which one to be
what
compromised.
AWS is.
Obviously,
So
the
you
business requirements
guys
are going to
first
be on
tell
top
me
priority. Right?
what
So
is cloud?
we as a performance engineer, it's very important to match these two things. Look into the design,
Anyone?
look into
Come
the
on,
architecture,
be quick.
find out the
What is
components,
cloud?
how it is expected to behave, what are the expected latency,
Cloud is nothing but
if
a
it is going to
remote
be again a
computer
hybrid
running
kind of an
somewhere.
architecture, how this is going to
Yeah,
impact, how it is
remote
going to impact
computer
our
running
entire
somewhere.
numbers.
That is the very
So
basic
that is
definition.
the
But
kind of
when you talk
role
about
we will play
when
during
you
the
talk in a
design
very
phase.
technical terms,
And
what is cloud?
so, see, the first two things are very
Okay, so
important
a
for
computer
even you to
is
move to a
somewhere
development.
located
From a
remotely,
development,
right?
it
How
is
will
all
you access
about
that computer?
you going to
What is
identify
the
problem.
basic
You are going
prerequisite to
to
access that
provide recommendation.
that
But if there is
Servers.
going to be a design flaw, it is
Internet.
going to be very, very difficult to
internet, right?
go and change it, fix it at that point of time. So,
Yeah, Komal,
though
you
it
were
is
saying
going,
something?
though it might look little odd,
Then we would need
or in
servers
most of the
as a
time, we
medium.
might not get a chance
Yeah,
to get into
servers
the
are computer.
project at the
By
requirements and
server
design phase.
system, we need
The
computers.
ideal world, that is the expectation, and that is something really, really
Okay,
required.
okay. So
Okay. And when it comes to
okay, I'll
development
tell you
phase, yeah,
how the concept of
the
cloud
code is
has
ready.
changed
You as a
everything in the
performance
IT
engineer
industry.
will do a couple
Okay,
of
okay. Let's
activities
say
like code
Anish
profiling, your
is
memory leak
opening a company.
analysis,
Okay,
uh,
so for
front-end analysis.
opening a
There are a lot of
company,
tools available for that
you
as well,
need
which
at
we will
least
see
10 to
along
20
in the sessions.
laptops
And then during the testing
right?
phase,
You
during the testing
need the
phase, when you're
internet
going to do
connection,
actual
you
load
need
testing, endurance
the
testing,
office,
you're
you
going
need
to
the
face
physical
a lot
infrastructure
of
setup like
problems related to
electricity you
response
need.
time or
Then there will
crashes.
be ACs which
And
will
so
help you, which
you'll
will help
be
your
involved
servers
in
to
monitoring
be cool,
the
because we need
server
AC for
components,
our database
take the required
centers. Okay,
dumps
so
to analyze the
every
threads and eat
these are the things,
the garbage
basic things internet
collection
it will
analysis.
also
So
be
all these things
required.
you'll
These
be
are the
doing as
basic
part of
things
the
you will
testing piece.
need to
And then
start
you
a
also, as
company,
a
right?
performance engineer, have a role to play
Anish,
in production to
I'm talking to you,
set up
right?
Yes,
proper
yes,
security
yes,
Okay.
yes.
monitoring.
So
So you
let's say
know
you
about
buy
your
10
components, you know
computers.
about
Okay,
your
10 computers,
critical
how much it will cost you?
functionalities.
Roughly, if you go for
You know
a,
the enough.
I mean,
So setting up the
nowadays
proper
a
synthetic monitoring,
decent
real
size
user monitoring
system
is
cost
also
50,000, right?
very very
Yes.
important, so that
So
you
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 see
be able to get right
50,000 for
metric
how
from the
many
production
computers? I mean, for
for you
20
to
computers. I
redefine
mean,
your
it will be somewhere
workloads in
around
advance,
10
10
lakhs,
lakhs.
or even to
Yes.
right?
get proper
You
alerts
will have to
and
spend on your computers. Then
reports to the
you'll
production.
have to
So
spend
that is
on
how the
office setup.
performance
Electricity
engineer
bill
role
will be there.
is going to span
Okay.
across the
So now
SDLC
here we
cycle.
are talking about a
Okay,
small.
so
Okay,
um,
we are talking about your company
these are
which you're trying to open.
uh,
What
the,
about
the
big
the
companies?
context I
Companies
want
like
to set you with you
Flipkart,
all, right?
like
From a
Amazon, like
performance
Amazon,
engineer,
like
as a
any company.
performance
I mean,
engineer,
like
this
Walmart,
is how we are going to play a
TCS,
role across an
Infosys.
SDLC cycle.
Okay,
And
I'll give you one more
what are
example.
those expectations
Recently, you might
when
have.
you wanted to get
So
into
I'll give you two
a role of
examples.
performance engineer
Recently, you might
within your
have
internal organization, or when you're going to
shop
probably
from
attend an
Amazon or
interview
from
for an
Flipkart, right?
any
On Big
external
Billion Day.
projects or external
Okay,
organization.
so
Okay.
let's say
Having said that, we
now.
talked
So
about a lot of
now,
things, right? I think the
what do you
expectations
think?
are going
How
to be very
many
huge.
customers are
But
actually surfing
see,
Flipkart or
if
Amazon?
I'm assuming that most of us are
10,000,
performance testers in the
20,000,
call,
30,000,
where are we going to start?
right?
Yes. Yeah.
It is
and
not going to
and what do you
be
think? So for
immediate transition
10,000
or
to handle
transformation
10,000,
from a
20,000 or
testing to
30,000
engineering,
customers, how
and
many servers
that
are
definitely
required?
cannot
Let's say
happen
1,000,
even if you're going to
1,500,
work in a project,
that will work, right?
Yeah.
I
get
mean,
an
those
opportunity to
1,000,
do any of
1,500
these
servers are
activities,
running
what I was mentioned.
continuously to serve those
Getting into a
20,000 or
performance
30,000.
engineer is a
But
journey. It's
what
going to
on
take
the day
its
of
own
Big
time.
Billion Day?
But
On the day of
as
Big Billion Day, how
with
many
my
customers
experience,
you'll have? I
right,
mean,
what I understood
5
is,
lakh,
even
10
when I
lakhs.
was a
So
performance
do
tester,
you think
getting into a
those
performance
1,000
engineer,
servers
we
will
always
be able
have a
to manage
lot
those
of
5 lakh or 10 lakh customers? No,
myths,
right?
right?
I mean, they will
Again,
be able to, but
even the
there'll be
confidence
a lot of
level in
lag.
which we are going
Customer
to talk to the
experience will
developers
not be
or
good.
architects.
You'll not be
Normally,
able
even
to
the
open any
performance
page,
testing results,
right?
we
So
find
for
difficult to
Big
go and
Billion
talk
Day,
to
what Flipkart will do is
the
for
architects
those
to
from,
pinpoint,
so
say
let's say
there's a
a
deviation in the
normal day,
response
if
time, then
they
or
require
there are too
1,000
many
servers,
exceptions or
okay,
errors. They're
on
always
Big
going to
Billion Day they
pinpoint
might
our
require
scripts
10,000
or test
servers,
data
which is
or
nine
environment.
times. I mean,
So we
1,000
always
and
go
10,000. 9,000
struggle
more
in
servers they
convincing
will
them
require
or
for those 4 days.
making them
So do you
understand
think
the real
Flipkart will go
problems.
and buy
Now, when you're
9,000
going to say
computers and
your
they will
application
set up
is having a
and
memory
they will
problem,
set up the
or is
Flipkart
having
application on all those
a particular
9,000
method is causing high
servers,
response time,
and then it
or
will serve the customers,
your
right?
DB queries are not
That is
properly
not the right way, right?
optimized.
It's
So when we
spending
are
on
going to
9,000
go
more
into that
servers,
level,
and after
we,
4 or 5 days
always
they'll be of no use,
will find a
right?
problem
So what
more in
they
terms
will do
of
is they will rent the server
confidently
for from
conveying
any
it.
cloud, let's say
So
Amazon or
that is
Azure
a
or
with my
GCP,
experience,
anything.
that is always going to be initial
Okay,
roadblock, right?
so here
Whether
we
if
are
I'm going
saving
to
the
talk to
cost,
the
right?
team,
And let's consider
what
your
kind of
example.
questions
So
will come out?
you have opened a company,
Am I
uh,
really good enough to go
20
and talk to
systems are
them?
required, so you
What if
got all
I'm going to do
20
something
systems,
wrong,
but what if your
and it is
company
going to
doesn't, I mean,
taken
this
in
is not
a different way?
your,
So
I mean,
that's the
I'm just
initial
taking an
roadblock
example, don't take it in the
that is
wrong
going
way.
to be there
What if
for
your
any of our
company
performance
doesn't
tester.
run? Then you need to
Um,
shut down
so
I mean, your company.
the bottom line
Then
is we are not
those
going to
20
get
or
expert
25
in
odd
all
systems will
these
get wasted,
areas
right? So
immediately,
instead, you
but we
rent
have
the
to get
server from
started for sure, right?
Amazon. And the best part of cloud
Hit the
computing
basics,
is
get a confidence
pay
about what we
is
speak
it's pay as
in
we
terms of
use.
monitoring. I'm going
Is
to use it,
charges
whatever
only
message
for
I
the
want to convey.
storage part.
Okay?
It doesn't
So
charge you
that is the
for the
barrier we need to
server which you
break,
have rented.
and it is quite
It
easy to
charges
do it
only
as well,
for the
right?
storage part
Which
which
I
you're
did it
using.
myself a couple of years back.
One
Uh,
question I have
we
here.
have to get started. Okay.
Please go
So
ahead.
let's say
The
I
entire
have a
session,
instance, or
the
let's say a
all the
RDS,
sessions, all
a
the
DB I
topics,
have
whichever I'm going to
from
cover it,
AWS. and I
it
have
is
taken a
designed in such a way that
snapshot of it,
most
and
of
it
these
is
things
in
are
like
will be taken care.
I have shut it down,
The what are the
but it is
expectations
using some
that are
storage. So I'm
listed
not
out in this
actually
slide
powered it
one,
on, it's
right?
shut down. So
So
will
all these
AWS
things
charge for that storage
for you to
also?
get confident about
Yes, I'll tell you why. So there are three
talking about all
options
these
basically
areas
in AWS.
as a
So
performance engineer,
to either shut down your
you
systems,
would be
okay?
to
Oh
do
no,
it
sorry, two options:
once
shut
you
down your
complete
system.
this batch,
I mean,
and
that is
once you
stopping the system
have a
or
hands-on
terminating
on all these
the system.
topics,
So if you are
definitely
stopping
you'll
or
be able
shut
to do it.
down or shutting
Okay,
your
and
system down,
again,
in that case, AWS will
when
charge.
you
Okay, but
unless
if you are
otherwise you're going to get
terminating
into
your
a real
instance,
project,
then
you're not going
AWS
to
will
get a
not
feel of it,
charge.
right? The
And if
other
you have
problem
rented
what we see
some
is
database,
most
I
of
mean,
the organization will not get a
and to
role or
store
will not get a
the data of
opportunity
your
to do all
I
these
mean,
things. Will
of
not
the
even get
server which you have
access to the
rented, if
server to get
you
logs. Will
need a
not even get
storage,
access to
AWS will charge
monitor
for
and
that
get those
storage.
metrics. We have to rely upon the
Cool.
ops team or infra team to
Thanks.
give us
Got it?
an
Okay.
CSV file or a log file for us to go and look
Okay.
into it.
Nice.
Okay.
Good
So
question.
my
Anybody
solution
else?
for that is, and it worked out as well for even for me and
Okay. One more
a couple
example.
of my other
Uh,
people in my previous
on
batches as
14th
well,
of
right?
October,
You get
India
your
Pakistan match
hands
was there,
on
right?
at
Do
your
you know
home.
how
Don't
many
wait for the
what
opportunities
was the number
to
of
come at
people watching
office.
that match?
Um,
Around
uh,
3 crore.
set
Okay.
4.3
your own
crore.
missions, you set
Yeah.
your own
Exactly. Exactly.
development
4 point
environment.
exactly. I'm just
You have
taking a
to
rough number,
think as
3
a
crore, 4 crore.
developer to get started.
You see, India
If
was
at all,
Australia match,
as I'm
2.5
still
crore.
assuming
India
that
versus
most of
New Zealand
you
match, 2
would
crore.
be as a performance
Okay,
tester trying
so
to get
you
into a
see the
performance
craze.
engineering
So what is
role.
Hotstar doing? Hotstar is
So
also
you have to
renting
think
a
yourself as
server
a
from
developer, right?
clouds.
No
Again,
more as
I'm not
a tester, which
precisely
means
saying
you
that it
have to
is
get a
renting
basics
from
about
AWS only. It can rent from AWS, it can
your
rent from
programming
Azure.
language.
The
You're
server
going
for
to be a
that one
performance
day,
engineer
okay,
rather
because
than
they don't
getting a
need those
theoretical
amount of
knowledge
server
and then
every day
waiting for
in every match,
opportunity
right?
is not going to
They
work out.
only need,
And
so
even for
that is
me,
basically auto
when I
scaling.
took a
They have
performance
done auto
engineering role,
scaling and load balancing.
I mean,
Okay,
it's not
so
that
in
easy,
auto
right?
scaling and load balancing,
It is
if
going
the
to be
load, I
competitive
mean, I'm just
environment,
giving a
both at
high
the
level example.
of
Okay, we'll get into the
your current
details.
organization or
As the
outside.
so
So
they basically set the
in today's
parameter
world
that
with cloud,
let's say there are
cloud
two
and
instances, and
Amazon
if the
machines,
load
you'll be able to get
and
access
we are
to all
distributing
the
the load
tools,
on both the instances. So
infra,
if the
and there are a
CPU
lot of
capacity
open
reaches
source projects
above
available in GitHub
80%,
where you
another
can
instance will get
easily
created.
get
Okay,
yourself
and
used to
then
all these
again the
things.
load
I'll
balancing will
also
happen.
help
Load
you
balancing
through
and
this
auto
session how
scaling,
to do
they
this.
do it in parallelly.
Yeah, so the session
Okay,
two, the next session, right?
and what is
Uh,
auto
uh,
scaling? So auto scaling
Again,
is
I am not
basically
going to go
scaling
deep into the
instance,
performance
I
engineering
mean size,
before
like
setting
memory,
you
RAM, and
for
all,
a
up or down,
basics. When I
depending
say
on the
basics,
requirement.
uh,
Okay, so that's
the
how it will be.
minimum knowledge or
Okay, anybody else,
concept
any
that is required for
questions?
you to go ahead, right? The more about Java basics, the JVM
No question.
architecture.
Okay, fine.
You need to understand
Okay,
what a propeller is going to do.
now
You need to get used to heap,
you guys tell me,
stack,
what is the
memory,
difference between
threads. So all these basic concepts,
IaaS,
setting up your
PaaS, and
server
SaaS? Have you
or
guys
setting up
heard
your
of this
machine
system?
for development environment, right?
This,
Yes.
Installing the JDK, setting up the
okay, what is it?
environmental variables,
Yes.
creating the programs.
IaaS
So
is
you should have
infrastructure
a
as a
environment
service.
in your hand, which
PaaS is
would be
platform as a
a
service, and
prototype of
SaaS is
a
like
server
software as
environment,
a
right?
service.
So
So as
you
the
now, as
name
a
signifies, that
developer,
gives
can open
there we can
Eclipse,
get
create
software
programs, compile
as a
it,
service. So
run
pay per
it,
use.
deploy it in a Tomcat,
In IaaS we get
and
infrastructure
introduce
like
problem,
physical computers
profile
like
it,
these
debug
things
it, fix
we
it.
can get,
So
and
not in a massive way,
another one
but
is
at
that
least
platform as a
in a very
service. Yeah,
subset
these
of that,
three.
right? So which means you'll be
Yeah,
confident
right.
about
Now,
the
if I ask
what
you
you're going to talk.
what
You're going
type
to talk
of
about heaps.
service
You're
is
going to talk about
AWS, what
stack.
will
You're
you
going to
tell?
talk about thread. What is that? Do you really have seen it? So setting up this basics
AWS
is
is
going to really
combination of all
help you
these three
to
things.
get a feel of that, get comfortable in
Yes.
all these terms,
Anybody else?
get comfortable with this environment, right? So session two is going to be more about
Hello?
helping you to
Hello?
have this kind of an environment, knowing about the basics. That's what
That
I'll be planning to do.
Okay,
And
anybody
again,
else?
this
So only Anis and
almost all
Komal
the sessions would
are
be pretty
interacting,
much
and only you guys are
theoretical
answering the
plus 50
questions.
percentage
I
of
want everybody else to involve
me
in the
doing
conversation.
practical exercises,
It's good that I mean,
creating
again, I'm not
problems,
stopping Anis
debugging it
and
using
Komal,
tools,
but I want
and
to hear
then
from
fixing it.
everyone.
So that kind of an sessions are what designed for the almost
Okay.
entire
Okay,
program.
I'll
Okay,
proceed,
so
but
session two
guys,
is more
please try
about
to
you
interact. Okay,
you making
okay.
yourself
So,
comfortable with
tell
the
me,
development
I mean,
environment,
five
understanding the basics about
characteristics of cloud
the
computing.
Java JVMs.
Anyone, Anis, Komar,
Session
anyone.
three,
Just tell
from
me
session
five
three
characteristics of
onwards,
cloud
what
computing.
we'll
We have
do is,
discussed this already.
as I told in the beginning, we'll go with the SDLC architecture, right? The first part of the NFRs and the design review, we will keep it
Anish, you go ahead and
at the
tell, please.
last. The main reason is once
I
you know
think
about
so. The
all the
first one
basics
can
of
be
problems, issues,
scalability.
how to solve it,
Yes,
then
right.
you would be able to do the NFR
Uh,
gathering or do the design review
what
properly.
else apart
So
from
let's not go get into
on-demand
the
paper
technical part
use?
at the start.
Yes, that
Let's
is right.
get our hand into the code,
What
get our hand into the
else?
tools. So the sessions are going to be like yeah, new application is getting developed.
Maybe
You as an engineer is going to get involved early
scalability. I told
at
paper
the development
use.
stage. What all you're going to do?
As per your
What all issues you're going to
services.
face? It. There are going to be you
Yeah, pay
a
as per the
lot of problems
services,
that you're going
right?
to get from
On
a
demand,
application
we can
perspective,
request
right at the single
Yeah,
users
things.
level,
this is already,
right at
yeah,
the code level,
this is already
and then
used,
going into
right?
testing when a load testing is going on. So we'll go through one by one. The session three would be mainly the problem which we face is a response time problem, even without a load testing. Right? So how are we going to analyze the response
Resource
time
pooling can one of the thing.
for your application,
Okay.
and how are we going to
And
use the
maybe we
tools
can
Yeah,
to
achieve
debug
automation
it?
also,
Right.
like
So what
pipelines
I'll do is
basically.
I'll
yeah,
probably
yeah,
do
yeah.
a
This
quick
is right. This is very important service,
preview
and
on how
security
it is
can
going to
also
look
be
like, right?
considered one of
For
the
you to
services, right?
understand how exactly this
Yes, yes,
practical session
yes.
is going to be
Okay. So, okay.
for
So,
you.
so
Let me go to the
by this name, by security, I've got a very good example. Okay. You guys
yeah.
watch
Um,
series or movies
I
on
have a
Amazon Prime,
I'll,
Netflix,
I'll
or
use some
Hotstar, right?
e-library application
Yes.
with which
Yes.
Okay. So,
I would be
Amazon
creating
Prime
performance issues,
and
and
AWS, I mean, it's the same
I'll
company,
be
right?
debugging it using the tools like JProfilers or
Yes.
Visual
Yes.
Right?
VMs.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'll do what I'll do is I'll go and
you
deploy
might be guessing
one
that
file.
Amazon. So see, I mean, actually, it's right. Amazon price. I mean, the all the services of all the content of Amazon Prime are actually
Okay,
deployed
and
on
I'll go and
AWS.
start
Okay,
the Tomcat.
but there's one interesting fact that Netflix, which is the competitor of Amazon Prime, the content of Netflix
So it
is
should get
also
started in
deployed
a
on
minute.
AWS.
It's
Okay,
deploying the
this
archive.
much is the
Okay, it
security
started.
which AWS
So
offers,
I'll go and open
and this
the
was is the transparency. This is the I mean, yeah, basically this is the kind of the level of trust which AWS has created. Being a competitor,
okay. So
also
this is my
Netflix is deploying
e-library
its content
application.
on
I'll try to log
AWS.
into this. So again, the assumption here
Got
is
it?
you as a performance
Did you
engineer
guys
get
knew
getting
this,
involved
or
into the early in the life cycle,
No,
and
this is a
there's
new
an application
information.
developed, at least a minimal feature, and you have
so?
started involving in
Basically,
finding out the
there are
problem
three types
at
of
the very
cloud.
beginning level,
Okay, one is
even
public
before
cloud.
we write
Okay,
LoadRunner
you
scripts or
guys
Jmeter
only tell
scripts,
me
get
what
into
are
the
the
load
three
testing.
types of
That's going to
cloud.
happen
Then
way
I'll tell you.
Public, private, and
after in the
hybrid.
life cycle, right?
Okay.
Normally, we don't do a
Okay,
load
so can
testing
you
earlier in
describe
most of the
these?
cases. So in this case, I
Public
just got
cloud is like
URL from the
it's
developer.
open for
I'm
all,
just logging
kind
in,
of a setup which is open
and
for all.
I see
A private is like
the
some
page is getting loaded.
it will be requested for some company or
It
some
is taking time.
organization
So
particular,
that is
wherein
a
the people of
typical issue what
that
you're going to face
organization can
at the
only
beginning
access
of the
it.
new application,
And a
right?
hybrid is a
Not
mixture of
lot
both
of
of them,
applications at the
like
beginning is
public
going to
plus
behave in
private.
similarly.
So some
So
part of it
you as a
will be
performance
open for all,
engineer,
and some
how
part
are you going to
will be
debug? How
accessible
are you going
to
to find
particular group
problems? How are you
maybe.
going to provide
That is
recommendation?
my understanding.
Yes.
And then
Sorry. Come again.
post fix, how are you
Some part
going
will
to
be.
verify it?
Some
Okay,
part will
so this
be
is the problem,
like
right?
private, so it will be accessed
Where
by
it is
particular organization only, and some part will be
whether it is going to
like
be a problem at the
accessible by
client
all
side,
in
or it is a
hybrid
problem with the
setting.
network, or it is a problem with the
Yeah,
server
you
side.
were right actually.
That is how
Just one
your
point I would like to
troubleshooting is
add
going
for
to start,
hybrid cloud.
right?
So
Because this
hybrid
response time
cloud,
could be because of your local machine having a
hybrid
bandwidth
cloud
problem,
with hybrid
or it could
cloud
be
solution,
some
you
client side
can
JavaScript,
host
or
the
it could be a
first
server
of all,
side
the
issue, right?
application will be hosted
So
in a safe
we'll
environment.
talk
Okay,
about how are you going
but
to
you can
troubleshoot the problem.
take the
But
advantage
what
of
I'm going to show is
public cloud cost
use one
saving as
of
well.
the
Like few features
profiler,
you
Java
would like
profiler,
to keep it in the
to
private cloud, and few features you would like to
debug the
keep it in the public
problem,
cloud.
right? So what I'll do is I'll
That is
open
how
the
the system works in hybrid cloud.
JProfiler.
Okay.
Okay, and in
So
the
there are a
private
couple of tools
cloud,
which we are going to
everything
use it
is
throughout the session, right?
kept
There are a lot of
like
tools
let's say
that comes along with
IBM
the Java
Cloud or
itself.
Oracle
JProfiler is
or
there,
VMware Cloud. Okay,
JVisual VM is
so
there, JConsole is
these
there,
companies
your
use.
Java Machine
I mean,
Control
these
is there.
companies doesn't
JProfiler is
use
one of
AWS because they
the
have their own. Again, they
commercial
I
in
am
detail
not.
about how to
Even
find
I'm
the
not aware
process
about
ID,
Alibaba.
what are the
Okay, so
various, how to configure the
so
JProfilers.
basically
But
three clouds in the
more from the
market:
preview.
AWS, Azure, and
Um,
GCP.
so we have
AWS
a
has
problem, right?
more than
We have a problem of
57% share.
the
By
response time.
in 2019, it
Let's
was
go
around
into
47%,
the
but now it has more than
JProfiler.
57% of total market share. And Azure has around 27 or 30, I guess. And rest is, I mean, some part VMware, IBM Cloud, then GCP. GCP is still coming up in the market, but yeah.
It's still just trying to
Okay,
get connected to the
so
JVM.
this is the thing. So any questions from your side?
No, as of now.
Okay, now one thing which I wanted to point it out. Do you guys have AWS account?
Okay, sampling.
The
Okay.
free one.
The free tier account,
Okay.
right? The free tier
So in
account.
this, I'm coming here. My
Actually,
intention
long
is
back I
to identify
created.
problems,
They
right?
gave a
Still,
long
I
bill,
haven't
so I
got
stopped
the
it.
my page. So what
Bill,
I'll be able
okay,
to do is
Anish.
there is something
So
called
that is a free tier account.
CPU
You
use,
you should.
Yeah,
So
that has.
see,
and it is
if
going
you
to
request, no,
record
no,
the
if you
CPU
request to
data,
AWS, no, see,
and then
AWS has
it will
I mean,
also
okay,
help
if
us
you
me in
request AWS
identifying
customer
the
care to
hotspots or
that
the
to please waive up the bill
hotspots
because I
within
was
my
using it for my learning
my
purpose.
code.
Trust me,
Okay,
Yeah,
they will.
yeah.
so still it is loading.
So
Okay, still it is loading.
Yes,
how much
I did the
longer?
same. I did
I'll
the
come
same.
on
It was
stage.
72,000, so they waived it off. So I have the account.
72,000.
Yeah, yeah. So I at that time I was not knowing that you have
Okay,
to shut
if you
down the
see here, right,
instance.
this is how
So
we will
it
get
kept on
started.
running
And
for some.
When we come
I'm
to the
sure
call
that you
tree,
were not using
the
32 micro.
still it just
You
got
might
Yeah,
be
loaded,
using.
right? The response
I
time just
don't
got
remember
loaded.
it.
It took
It's like
maybe
three,
what
four
20
years
seconds.
back,
So
but
I'll
it
come to the
was some big
Java
instance.
profiler.
Yeah, it's
I
fine.
will go to the call tree
Okay,
and
three,
I'll
four
look
years
into
back.
the
Okay, fine. So you need an
calls,
AWS
how the
account.
call has
See,
happened, right?
again, I can teach you and
From
I can show
the
you
your
how
Tomcat,
the things are
it went
being
into
done in
something called
AWS. Okay,
admit
but
login
we
dot
need
to
an
post.
AWS account to
I
go ahead.
believe it
I
could
mean,
be a
just I mean,
admin
for
login could be a
this is
but
again for
maybe a
your
class file,
practicing
and
only.
do post would be a
Okay,
method. That is a
so
that is
we
how
need an AWS account. So
the naming
you
convention works,
please, so
right?
you
Class
have a
file
debit
followed
card,
by
right,
the
or credit card?
method, and there is something called
They
external
will
call
not charge
send get.
even a
Okay,
single
so out
penny.
of these
Initially,
100% rate,
I think
it
2
shows
rupees will be
18.6%.
deducted from your
Close to
account, and
13
that is
seconds
also
is spent
refundable.
within
They
this
don't even
admin
save the
login,
cards.
and then with this admin
Okay,
login, there
and
is
they
an
are giving
external
one
call that
year
is
of free
happening, right?
access.
Which
So
took
I will
12
highly
seconds.
recommend all of
So,
you to
which
please
means
go
there's a
ahead,
problem
create
with my
AWS account.
particular
That is will be really helpful.
external
One
call
year
where it is
is,
trying
I
to
mean,
get a
ample
response,
time you
right?
have. You can practice
Um,
AWS. You can
there could be
leverage
many reasons why this external
all the services of
calls might
AWS.
getting
So please go
slower,
ahead and create
maybe
it.
because of the network, or it could be because of
Okay,
the
now
third
if you
party
want, I can show you how to
responding
create. Just give
slowly
me a
because
moment.
of its own. So the way the session is
Just
going
a
to
moment.
happen for this response time analysis is we are going to I have already created a problem because of which my admin login is delayed. And as a performance engineer, I'm seeing a problem, and I come to JProfiler, and how I'm going to use the JProfiler to find out the class or the method or the corresponding method calls. And with this, I would be able to go back to the my developer and provide recommendation saying there's a huge amount of time is taken for a particular
Let
external
me
call
share my
dot
screen.
send get. Okay, that is how I'm going to use the JProfiler to troubleshoot my problem. Okay, it's a very simple preview example which I wanted to give it to you,
So
right?
see, you go
We'll
to
pass it on here for the this particular response time
signing.aws.com.
problem. Okay.
I'll put the
Similarly,
link here.
our next thing would be on for the
Chapters.
response time analysis. As I said, we'll be using JProfiler, JVisual VM. I'll be using Eclipse project and a war file deployed into Tomcat to find out the problem, debug it, and then fix it. Fourth is
Sign
next
in. This
session
is
would
the
be
link. You go to
on
here.
the memory,
Create
right?
new AWS
Again, memory
account.
is a huge topic. Memory
Click on create
is
a new AWS
memory
account.
problems are something very quite
You
common
give your root user,
for us
email
when
address.
even
What
when during the performance
user should I
testing we
give?
have seen a lot of out of memory
Because
exceptions, or
I
during endurance
already
test
have
the memory
the
growth is
account. Let
happening
me check for an
rapidly.
email
After
ID.
3 hours, 5 hours, the server getting crashed, right? So we would have heard about
Can
the
any of
leaks,
you?
memory
Okay,
leak
no issues. I'll do that.
occurring in Java, taking the heap dump to understand the objects that are not properly handled, right? So all these general
Let's
basics
see,
about
did this
memory,
account
how it is
will
handled by
be
JVM, what are the leaks, how are we going to
go
use the
ahead.
tools like Visual VM
Okay,
and
then you
JProfiler
need to
to
verify the email
identify the
address.
leaks, how we
Verification
are going to
code will
fix
be
it.
sent.
So again,
I
combination
will
of
just check the verification
theory,
code.
tool plus practical sessions, right? That's how we are going to do it.
Verification code
Again, let me
is
do a quick preview on what we are going to see.
I have
I'll go back to
verified it.
the my
Okay, now it's asking for
J
password.
profiler. Okay,
I've given some
so
password.
I'll run a jar file which is having a memory
Okay,
problem.
not now. So here you need to give your full name, your mobile number. Where is
Going here.
India? You give anything, your number. Okay, country India. I'm sure you guys will be able to fill this. Then you give your address, Bengaluru, city also
Okay,
Bengaluru,
so I started a jar
Bengaluru,
file, which is again
state,
a Java program, which is going to get executed, right?
postal
Let
code,
me open the
7.
JProfiler.
Okay, read the terms, continue. What happened? Okay. Personal.
Okay, there is something called a new PID has come for my memory issue.jar. I'll open it.
The phone number. Okay, my phone. Should.
Close my Tomcat so that it is not consuming memory.
Okay, here it will ask for your
So it is
debit
connected to the
card or
memory
credit card number.
issue.jar.
Use it. Okay, it will not charge you. No need to give a PAN address, or you can give. It's your choice. Okay, but no need to. I mean, it will not charge you even a single rupee. Okay, yeah, $1 I give.
Again,
You
try
need
to
temporarily hold
re-adjust,
$1.
attach it,
Okay,
validate,
$1 initially
make
it
it
might
jar.
charge. Earlier it was charging, I
Just
think,
sampling. Okay.
2 rupees, I guess. Okay,
So
but
I'll
this
go into
amount
my
will be refundable.
overview tab,
Okay, this amount will be refundable. Just they will
and
hold it for 3 to 5
memory is so
days
far
to verify your
flat.
identity. After that, they will not even charge a single thing from you. They will not save your card. Okay, don't
So some
think
operation
like
is going
after
on with
1 year
my
they will
Java
start
program.
charging. No, nothing.
At
They
some
won't.
point of
They will
time,
not charge
it
anything.
is increased, say from
Okay, so please do
5
that.
MB,
Go
it
ahead
now
and
went up to
create the AWS account.
uh,
Okay.
uh, 340 MB,
Meanwhile,
right?
what I will
So it
do
is
is I will
growing.
log
Okay,
into my
you could
AWS
see
and I
here.
will show you the console.
So let it run for a couple of seconds. So normally what happens is, say for example, when I'm going to run a garbage collection, right? What will happen is the used heap will come down to a certain level for sure. Okay, and if it is not going to come down,
Sign into the
then we can
console.
suspect a leak. We'll get into the concept of what is heap, what is leak, all these things in detail.
Okay, so
But I
this is
wanted to
my
give a preview
console.
on
I am right now in the Mumbai region.
what
You can see there
happens
are many regions in
what
AWS.
when there's a problem with the
Okay,
memory
and these are the
in
11
my
regions that are not enabled
program.
for my account.
How am I going to monitor it?
They are the new
How am
one
I going to
actually,
profile it
Cape
using
Town,
the
Hong
tool?
Kong, Hyderabad, and all.
And how am I going
In
to
India, they
debug
have
it? Now,
two
when I run
regions.
a
One is
GC, it
Mumbai,
came down a
and
bit,
Hyderabad
but
is the
not
recently
much,
opened
right?
one. These are the
So,
different thing.
with
These are
this,
the
I could
different
see
regions. Again, these are
there
the
will be
different
I mean,
services in
obvious
AWS. We'll
results
start
where
with
your jar
EC2,
file could throw
which
out,
is
out
the
of memory
virtual
exception if it is very too
servers.
bad. If it is a
That's the
small
backbone of.
leaks,
Again, I'll
you
explain
would
you
still be
about
able
these things.
to
Okay,
find
so that
out
was the
by
console,
running a GC and
and
looking into the recovery. You'll be able to
it's already it's
at
so
least
this
observe
is the first
or
session, so we'll wrap up
decide there are going to be
for
leaks,
today.
right? So once you know
This
there
was
are going to
so.
be
Let me know
leaks
if you
using
have
the
any
JProfiler tool,
questions.
and you'll be able to go to the I think it got it got stopped. Let me again
Yes,
re-run it,
Shivam, if
there
you
was,
can,
or rather think with the
yeah,
time what we
please.
have tried.
that's okay, you
So this
can
is what we are
proceed.
going to see from the J profiler from
Okay.
the memory as well.
So
We are going
I
to
saw some, there was a
create
region also, right?
Java
So
programs
region
which is
and
going to have
zone, how they are related.
memory leaks. And we,
Okay,
as a
so
performance
see,
engineer,
so in
as a
in
black
in
box,
one region
we are going
there
to run this
can be
application. We
there
are going
is
to
minimum one
run these
availability zone,
jar
and there are
files, and using
maximum
JProfiler,
three
we
availability
are going
zone.
to
In
come
Mumbai, there
here.
are
We are
three
going
availability
to
zone.
uh,
Okay,
let
so
me
zones
anyway
are
do again
basically,
start this.
let's say if
I'll
you
also
have,
show
I'll give you an example.
how
If
are you
you
going to
if
take
you
the heap dump
have
here.
created a
I'll attach
services,
it
okay,
again.
if you
So
created a services, then what AWS
again,
will
there's
do
a
is
new bit
AWS will create
came
a
here.
backup for you, okay, in
Okay.
some other region. Okay,
How are you going
what
to look into the objects which are
if your
leaking?
server
What
is
are the
running
major
in
collection
all
that
the
is
three
happening?
AZ, I
How
mean,
the GC
what if
activity is
your
happening?
server
And
running in the first AZ
how are we
fails?
going to identify
Okay,
the class
you
file?
will lose
How
your
are we
data.
going
So
to
it will
identify
store
the
your data not
particular
only in
strings or
first region, it
arrays
will store your data in the second
or
region as well.
objects which are
So region
not
are
properly
basically, yeah. So let's say,
handled by the
let's consider
programmer? Okay,
an
that is our
example of a
intention,
company,
right?
a
Our intention
TCS.
is to
So TCS is in Bangalore.
suspect the
Okay,
leaks.
let's say for
If you
example
suspect the
TCS is in
leak,
Bangalore.
then
So in Bangalore,
get into
TCS
details about
has not
identifying
only
the
one branch, right? Two,
which
three
class or
branches it
which
is having
objects
to
Yeah.
the
bifurcate all the employees, right? So
problem
that's the thing in
is coming,
AWS
or the
also. There
root
are
cause of the
basically three
problem. So
availability. I mean,
those
two
things we
to three
will do
availability
it
zone
using the
in every
both with the
region
JProfiler
where they
as well as
keep
with
the
the
data backup and all.
Okay.
JVisual VM kind of a tool. There's a question from
You can
Anil
create your
Chaudhary. Yeah,
servers in any of the regions. That I'll show you.
Hi, very good morning. Two questions I have. So, first thing is
Okay,
like
so
JProfile
if
we're
I
going to
create in
use
one
for the
region,
app
let's
server
say,
essentially, right?
so in
Yeah.
which availability zone it goes,
for
that is
any
not in my
service
control.
where
That
you
AWS
have a
handles,
piece
right?
of Java code that is
No,
running,
that is
and
no. It's not
whichever
like that. I mean, you can create in your
service you want to profile.
yeah, availability
Correct.
zone. I'll show you. Just give
Okay.
me a minute.
And
Very
what
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
what
sure.
we are what tools we are going to use for the analysis of web server?
So meanwhile, Komal, if you want, you can ask the question.
See, when it comes to your profiling, right?
See,
Say there is going to be a
I just
so
server,
wanted to have a
and
full
your
detail of
application
the complete
Java is
course.
going to
How
run
long will that
inside
be
your
course and
JVM, right?
what
okay,
all
What you
I'll
want to
data?
then
profile here is the JVM.
give me a minute. I'll come back to you.
To find out the
Okay, so
leaks in
let's say
your
here
Java program.
you give
So your Java
my
program is going to
first
compile and it is going to get executed
server.
in a JVM.
Okay,
And in
you
JVM there,
connected
all your memory is going
Windows.
to get created, retained, destroyed. So to understand the
Okay, so
heap
T2
behavior,
micro.
we are going to access the JVM.
Here you
To
give
access the
any.
JVM, the tools are going to
Now if
be
you go in
your
advanced
JVisual VMs.
details.
You are going to use JProfilers, and there are modern tools available like Dynatrace, AppDynamics,
Where's
which
the
can also do the pretty same
availability
job.
zone?
Okay, so it
So
means like
yeah,
wherever
AWS availability
like
zone, you cannot
irrespective of the
decide
server,
that.
wherever
AWS
Java
will create
based is
itself.
actually you
I
are
mean,
using, we can use
Mhm.
I mean,
JProfiler, right?
it'll automatically
Correct, correct. Yes,
create
yes.
your instance
Okay.
in any of the
Yeah. The
availability
reason
zone.
is,
But earlier it was
see,
not the
the
case actually.
Java, the
We
JDK
were
itself is
able
going
to
to have
decide
set
it
of tools.
in
Wherever you're
which
going to go and
availability zone
deploy
we need to go.
your
Okay.
But yeah,
Java
So
again,
application,
now we,
it would require
provide the
a
yeah,
region
so,
JRE,
you want to
हाँ,
work.
हाँ,
set of
yeah.
JDK tools,
So
right?
region we can
And
select and
there you will have
availability zone
JVisual
AWS
VM,
will
you will
select.
have JConsoles,
Yeah, yeah.
you will have Java Machine
Okay,
Control,
got it.
which will come along with the SDK, which you can use it. You would still
Okay,
need
okay.
a remote access to those port
Yeah,
for
Komal,
you to do the
sorry,
profiling,
can you come
because you are
again
going
with
to
the
be
question?
in a remote place, and your
I
servers are going to
need the
be in
complete
different place,
details
and
of
you're
the
going to connect
course, the
remotely.
duration and the days
Um,
it will be
uh,
covered
but still you would be
for
using the
future.
So we
JProfiler
will be
or
covering the
other tools to
course
connect to
1 hour per day.
your application server
Okay,
to do the same
1 hour
activity.
per day we will be
Only
covering the
difference
course,
is
and the standard
you'll
duration
be
of
doing
this course is
remotely.
30 hours.
I'm doing it in my own
Okay, plus
system.
minus 1 or 2 hours that
Okay,
I
so
mean that
just
we
last
can
question. So
decide
Sure,
right
sure.
later.
now you are doing
Okay,
the
that will
analysis
depend
based
on
on the
based
memory
on
of
the
your your
I
memory.
mean, if we have
So
any
these analysis
kind of
you're doing for which
evaluation, then
server?
we,
If
I
I want
mean,
to
then
understand which is
and or
from
if you
web server or app
want me to
server,
cover
then
some
what will
extra
be your
topic like
analysis?
EKS or
Okay,
ECS,
so
then it might
currently
go
I
up,
have deployed
but
a Java
that's fine.
application into my Tomcat.
But yeah,
Okay,
standard 30 hours of duration.
and I'm running it. But when you see my profiling rate, it is up to a
Okay.
process ID. So all the process ID
Okay.
So it will be from Monday to
that is
Sunday
going to
every
run
day,
in the
7 days.
server.
No, Monday to
First, we need
Friday.
to
Monday
get
to
the
Friday.
process ID of your application, which you're going to
So maximum
profile.
it will go
Once you get
up
the
to
process ID,
1.5 month,
then
right?
you will be able to attach those process ID to a profiling tool, whichever profiling tool.
Yes, 1.5 months.
Right? So
Yes.
even if it is going to be it's going to be Tomcat, or it is going to be WebSphere or JBoss, inside that you will
Okay.
deploy this your application. It could be a jar or it could be a bar, and underneath profiling part or the understanding how the memory is handled, it is within the JVM, and that is what we are
Okay,
trying
guys.
to
Then
analyze it.
I think
To answer
we
your
can
question,
wrap
I'm
this
using a
up for
Tomcat
today.
deployed with
Okay.
the
We'll
Java
meet
application.
tomorrow, same time.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you.
Cool. Tomorrow
Thanks
I'll
for the question.
start with
Okay,
EC2,
so
the first AWS
that, yeah,
services.
see, the memory
Because
leak and garbage
AWS
collection
services,
go
that was
hand in
basic and the
hand,
most important
right?
one. Okay,
The
we'll start
leaks
tomorrow then
comes
with
because
with
DC couldn't able
EC2. If you
to
want
remove those
to do some
unused
free
objects.
revision,
You don't
please
need to
do
worry
it.
about all
I
these
mean, all the
terms,
details will
terms in
be
the
available on AWS
terminologies, right?
website.
Like your
Okay,
leaks,
we'll
the references,
then connect
objects.
tomorrow.
Let's get
Okay,
comfortable with all these things
thank you
in
everyone
the
for your time.
upcoming
Have a
session
good
before
night.
even we go into this level.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. Thanks for
But
Thanks a lot.
again, the
Thank
idea is
you.
to give
Bye.
you what you're
Okay,
going to
bye bye,
expect
bye
out of
bye.
these
See you
sessions so
tomorrow.
that
Bye.
you will get confidence about the next sessions. So the session 4, session 5 will be on the memories, memory leak, taking the if them, analyzing it with the real-time application, real-time problems, and then debugging it, finding a problem, and then we'll also go and fix those problems and we'll rerun it. Okay. Uh, Next would be on threats and threat dump analysis. Again, when we talk into performance issue, right? That is always going to be performance issue,
Prem, one
memory
quick
issue.
question.
Yeah, yeah,
So
please.
are you gonna share all code snippets with us using some file share?
I can do it for sure. Yeah, the WAR files, the code which is there for creating all this problem, we can share it using any of the commonly available forums through GitHub, or it could be through some drives. Definitely, yes.
And when we do, or when you are doing, are we gonna do along, or are we gonna only watch that? So that is my question, that we will do our hands-on on our lab each as well, or we will only watch you doing it.
It is going to be mostly I'll be doing it, you'll be watching it. But I can also do what I can do is I can send you across these things probably tomorrow, right? So we will have a weekend for you to set up your environment. Tomorrow, anyway, the session will be on setting up the environment, setting up your development environment, right? Once that is done, I can send across these WAR files and code snippets. For the weekend, if you have all these tools and setup done, you would be able to even do it alone. But problem is within the 1.5 hour session, if you have a problem with setting up a tool or configuring it, you will not be able to troubleshoot it and fix it. But definitely you will be able to do it along with me. If you take an extra effort to do that, I think that would be excellent. But
Okay.
yes, I can provide you that. We have a buffer of this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, right? Where you can go install all these tools. I can probably share you the list of tools and where you can download it, and also I can provide you this WAR and code snippets. Yeah, to make you do it along with the codes. Does it answer your question?
Yes, Prem. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, let's move on, right? So threat and threat dump analysis is another very important aspect as a performance engineer. We are going to see, especially during the load testing, right? Or still till now, what we have seen so far is your response time analysis, memory leaks at a unit level, at a program level. When we do a load testing, we end up seeing response time problem, right? Multiple logins, multiple people concurrently log in, you're going to see the problem with the response time increasing. It might be because of some configuration at the web server level, or it could be problem deep rooted into a code level as well. If there is going to be a problem at the code level, how are we going to find a problem? How are we going to go and fix it? So that is how we are going to look into when we talk about the thread and thread dump analysis. I wanted to show you a small a problem which is having a thread. Let me do it quickly. Right. So let me open my Eclipse. This is my project. Let me run this. Okay. I'll also open another tool so that you can take a look of the visual VM as well. I'll go here. I'll open the visual VM. So visual VM again, it comes along with your development kit, which you can use it to again get an insight on what is going on inside your JVM. Okay. Okay. Um, I'll close the JProfiler. Okay. Now I'll go and run this Eclipse program. Okay. So this project has a performance issue, especially the thread issue. So it is going to run dynamically, deploying it to a Tomcat server. Okay, it has started. So let me go to the other port. Okay, so here it is. I'm going to open a two sessions. One, I'll duplicate this. Okay, and then I'm going to enter this. And okay, I'm going to do a login here. I'm going to do a login here. Okay, and the first session has come. Second is still loading. Okay, let me go to the Tomcat bit. So what I'm saying is I could see the first is loaded, and second, in fact, first is still loading, and second is still trying to get loaded, right? So that is obviously some kind of a response time problem that is happening with the your application. Second is not even getting the initial HTML right. So when I go to look into the Visual VM or JProfiler, right, what I will now look into is, first thing I'll go and check my call tree analysis, what we saw earlier, to see if there is any particular method is taking a time. Like what we saw earlier is there's an external call taking time. And then if one of my pages come and second page is taking time, so which means a concurrency issue, right? It is not a actual concurrency issue is when we are going to do a 20 user test or 100 user test. As you increase your users, you will see response time degradation. That is mainly because of the concurrency problem, right? Either server couldn't able to handle the load because of the available threads, or there is a problem with the code because of that it is making the threads too wait. For that, the way I'm going to analyze it, I'll go to something called threads, okay, and then I'll redo it again, okay. Let me show a concept of what are the different thread status. How are you going to monitor it? I'll go back quickly. And then admin. Okay, so I'm doing it. Now, if you see, there's a two thread started. A thread with execution 4, thread with execution 5. Execution 5, if you see, there's something called light green called monitor. Monitor is nothing but a log status. It is monitoring another thread for it to get into action. So that is not a good state. We should not see threads in a monitor stage. It is like a kind of a logged status, right? It is waiting for another thread to release so that it can do the processing. So which means there's a problem with the login code where one of the particular method or particular piece of code is getting logged for a particular thread. Now, if you see, the execution -4 is now turning into park mode, which means it is releasing the log, and now my execution 5 is moving into a sleeping mode. Okay, so now if you go and look into it, right, you would have got these screens. So okay, this is again a preview of how we are going to troubleshoot the thread problems, right? Typically, you're going to run a load test. You're going to have a lot of server users going to get started, and when you see slowness, this is one of the way you would be able to go into the Visual VM, pick your particular process ID, and then go into the different threads and see if there are going to be a thread with a log. And again, from here, you'll be able to take a thread dump, and ideally we'll take 3 or 4 or 5 thread dump to monitor the various thread that are created by your application. So we'll go through how to analyze these thread dumps. There are tools available, and you yourself can go and analyze the thread. What are the various parameters inside this logs? Which one we need to look into it? The thread state. So all these things we'll get into the detail about when we analyze the when we go for this session. But again, the idea here is to give you a preview of how are we going to deal about it. How we are going to get the session structured for a thread dump analysis. Okay. So this is all about troubleshooting the problem using the tools, getting the thread dumps, analyzing the thread dumps, and you will be able to comfortably do all these activities. Next is your client side performance, right? This is again one very huge area. Though there are everything is optimized at the server end, right? You might still have a problem as an end user. When I say an end user, your load testing would be doing very good. All your response time would be within SLA. But when you're going to access it from the browser, right? None of our load testing tools is going to mimic your browser behavior unless you're going to use the true client protocols or Selenium kind of scripts to measure the response time. You will not identify problems at the browser level. But as an end user, right, you using Amazon.com at your home, right? So you won't worry about whether the problem is there at server or network or database or browser. You want the application to be faster. If there's going to be a problem with your client side, you're going to get impacted, right? So the client side performance analysis is going to be very, very important for you to give a very good, rich experience to your end user. And we are going to go through a lot of tools as well for this. We are going to go through various recommendations. Recommendation, I would say, simple example, right? If you are in India and you're going to access the page, you can have the servers in India itself rather than you are having a server in your US or UK. Your non-HTML files, right? Your JavaScripts or style sheet, it don't need to get rendered from your US or UK. It can be rendered locally itself. So looking into this, all this call, where it is getting downloaded, whether the caching is handled properly. I'm going from a page 1 to page 2. The resources should be properly cached so that it is going to be fast. So we are going to look into various recommendations which we can give to developer. And for this, I think toolings are very simple. You can just look into your developer tools. There are good tools available within the developer Chrome itself, right? Say for example, you have something called Lighthouse. You can minimal level. What you can do is you can look into the F12 function, right? You would have seen it a lot of times when you are going to create a script. So developer tool itself will give you a lot of insight. It won't give you insight. It will give you a lot of data for you to understand a problem. You can just go click it, look into the headers, right? A simple thing is headers. You can look into whether the proper caching is followed or not. So if you see here, the cache control is there. It is kept for maximum age, which is good, right? Because it don't need to go to the server again to get the resource, and it is compressed. So content is encoded with the gzip. Okay, so these are the few things which you, as an engineer, you can look into each of the resource. When you see the slowness in your page, you would be able to do all these things, which I will explain it in a proper way, right? How are you going to go about it? Which tool you are going to use it? How are we going to look into the resources? What recommendation we can give it? So all these things are going to be part of your client-side optimization. There is something called audit, right? Lighthouse plugin that comes along with your browser itself. You can just quickly go and generate a report which will tell you what are the areas you can improve it. All right. So this is one of the tools which we'll also get into the detail. There is also one more thing is how we can even automate the client side performance, right? Because typically, if you see automation testers, they will create Selenium scripts. So even instead we going and get this metrics manually, we can also rely on the Selenium scripts. When they are going to run it, we can get the metrics out of it. So we'll also look into those a few things, how we can insert few commands in a Selenium script, right? I'll also walk you through these things. I'll also walk you through the APIs that is available within the browser. There is something called navigation API, resource API, with which you will be able to get these timings. So performance timing for navigation start, end. So all these things you can get it from a automation script, from a Selenium script. That is also something we are observing commonly in the today's market. So this is about the Lighthouse report, right? When you run it for this page, it will give you a couple of metrics. It will also give you the recommendations, right? We'll get into detail about what is the recommendation, what is all about. So when you get into the client side performance engineering session, and as I said, right, the metrics. I'll also help you understand or how to get these metrics through APIs. So it's all about making the best use of the developer tools rather than using the fancy commercial tools. We'll be able to get a lot of metrics from the browser itself, and from an engineering perspective, we'll use this data to provide the recommendation. Okay, so that's about the client side performance engineering. We'll get into the details about all these aspects when we get into that particular session. And next we'll go on to the so now we have done with the profilings, we have done with the client side engineering. Next is the monitoring strategy, right? You as an engineer, it's very, very important for you to set up right monitors. You know architecture better. You have gone through design phase. You know what are the components are available. For you to analyze during a load test or even in production, right? Unless you have right monitors, you have right configuration set for this monitor, you will not get the data, which means you will not be able to analyze it if there's a problem. So defining a monitoring strategy both for your performance environment and for production environment is very important. So you as an engineer, you have to do it, and we will see how are we going to define a monitoring strategy. And then we'll also look into the JConsole, how we are going to hook into a JVM and get this